Of course, I would develop a headache while waiting for the stream to start. Thankfully, it won't be a long one. I'm not the worst suffering person out there. Hello. Please forgive me as I keep the lights low. Early? You'll live. You'll live. Hello. I was out at a convention having a good time, and I'm being punished for it. There's a lot to talk about. I'll try to keep my thoughts focused. So, we in Israel, as if there was a difference between the two countries, are at war with Iran. You've probably heard about this. We did this today. I say we, I don't actually know whether it was Israel or America. It also doesn't matter to me. It's an irrelevant distinction. We've targeted their oil depots, infrastructure on the outskirts of Tehran, and we have started quite a fire. You know, I don't know if you remember what happened in Kuwait, but when you set fire to oil infrastructure, oil fields, anything like that, it burns for a long time. A bit of a, I mean, everything disaster, but certainly in addition to everything else, a climate disaster. Very, very nasty stuff. In response to what we have done, I don't understand why Firefox is doing this. What did I made a tab grouping? Okay, I fixed it. In addition to here, hold on. Iran's bombed Dubai as a response? Yes, as they should. Want some apocalyptic imagery. Again, Tehran is a city of around 15 million people, like New York, larger than Los Angeles. It's actually getting quite bad over there. How long will that take to burn? I've seen videos of streaks of burning oil pouring down sloped city streets. In response, Iran has begun targeting oil infrastructure in neighboring countries like the UAE, and God bless them. I hope their Shahed drones, you know, find them with great accuracy. This conflict is actually going pretty badly for us. By us, of course, I mean the Zion-Nazi pedophile state known as Amera Israel, in a variety of ways. Obviously, one big one is that we have begun an economic crisis. The closing of the Strait of Hormuz and the rapid increase in gas prices is going to lead to global inflation and is probably going to make the president look pretty bad. But in addition to that, Iran has successfully pelted a bunch of our bases in neighboring countries, Iraq, UAE, whatever else, and caused them to flee. On orders of the Pentagon, some of these U.S. bases have actually fled to civilian hotels in an effort to avoid getting hit with those drones. Or, in other words, we're doing the IDF thing. We're using human shields. U.S. soldiers leaving the base and going to civilian hotels, just regular hotels nearby. Isn't that a war crime? Yes. Not that it fucking matters, apparently. As a consequence of this, I suspect that U.S. casualties are much, much, much higher than is being reported. As a matter of fact, the head of Iran's National Security Council has actually said that they've captured a number of U.S. soldiers from a base in Iraq. We don't know for sure whether this is true. The CENTCOM, Central Command, has denied it. But I will always trust Iran over the United States, and I think that any sensible person would do so as well. This is also a very provable claim from Iran. So, you know, we'll see if proof comes out. Hey, is anyone else getting asked to sign in to confirm they're not a bot on the website? Yes, that happens to many people. We want to make sure you're not a bot or Israeli. Yeah, no, we're not trusting CENTCOM. Okay. No, the conflict is going quite poorly for us. We're engaging in a maximal strategy of civilian annihilation. I assume that you guys have seen this clip. I can only play a short bit of it, unfortunately, because it is from 60 Minutes, which means that it's copyright claimed. But you've seen this, I assume, right?
Does this put U.S. personnel in any more danger than they otherwise would be?
Well,
the Russian involvement.
No one's putting us in danger. We're putting the other guys in danger. That's our job. So we're not concerned about that. We mitigate it as we need to. Our commanders factor all of this, but the only ones that need to be worried right now are Iranians that think they're going to live.
The idea that we were freeing the Iranian people was one of the roulette explanations we gave for this invasion to begin with. Like, obviously, the real reason we're doing this is because A, we do Israel's bidding, B, the elites want to rape children, and C, they want to further the accumulation of wealth from the bottom to the top. Those are the only reasons they want to do anything. All, like, this is very basic material economics. All forces in the world are dictated on some level by wealthy people wanting to fuck children. I guess I didn't expect us to arrive at this point so quickly, where HEGSETH and the president were just openly saying, yeah, we're just here to kill as many people as possible. But that is the goal. There's not really any other explanation for what we're seeing in Tehran right now. I mean, one of our opening strikes was on a fucking girls' school, you know? That was us, by the way. That was the United States. But we've given up on other explanations. I guess the president and his cronies are guessing that because there don't seem to be any consequences for anything they've ever done, no matter how obviously bad or damaging or treasonous or, you know, evil, there won't be any consequences for this either. And they are probably correct. It's not just Pete Hegseth, by the way. I'm really trying to stay focused because every day we get an amount of information that I could cover evidencing the fact that they're evil that would take hours and hours and hours to go through. I'm trying to keep this very focused, but just listen to this from Air Force One.
They're being decimated now. You know, at some point, I don't think there'll be anybody left maybe to say we surrender, but they're being decimated. And
so again, remember, the official narrative from the White House was the initial strike was a decapitation strike. And now they're just peppering the country to pave the way for a civilian uprising. But I guess they've given up on that now. You know, like we're not doing, we're like the liberatory, I really can't overstate. I mean, this is like, is so much worse than the Iraq war. For years and years in Iraq and Afghanistan, we persisted in the narrative, the myth of nation building. And it was a myth, but God, man, it was better than this. The lie of nation building was morally preferable to the president and the Secretary of Defense just saying, we're just gonna fucking kill you. Why? Why? I think Trump got asked why recently at a press conference, and he did the, what happened to you? You used to ask good questions. This question was woke. Next question. He pulled that one, if anyone has that clip. Why? Fuck you is why. We'll talk about why it's Israel. There is no real goal here because we are at the whim of fanatics. Obviously, Israel will never be satisfied with anything less than the eradication of all non-Jews in the Middle East, and preferably, if they get their way, the darker-skinned Jews as well. So there was no version of this where a sane, secular, or democratic uprising took place. But thankfully, it is going poorly for us. I think I saw this right here on the front page of the Associated Press. Trump says he's ruled out having Kurds join the Iran war. I'll translate for you. After beginning of the strike, there was an effort to arm local Kurdish groups, Kurds, of course, an ethnic minority in Iran who have longed for many years for Kurdistan, their own independent state. They are the world's largest stateless ethnic group. And the Kurds said, no, not this time. And listen, the Kurds historically have really enjoyed working with the United States. We've tricked them like a dozen times, man. A dozen times we've gone to the Kurds and we've said, we'll help you. You just have to be our front wave against this local force, okay? Not this time. So, you know, we've written off the Kurds helping us out. or something. Iranian Kurds want federalism, not full independence. People are people. I'm sure they want different things. I'm sure some of them would just like the bombing to stop. Probably a lot of them, actually. Oh, sorry, if I'm just listing things that went wrong, recent reporting indicates, in addition to everything else, that a number of the people that we killed in the initial decapitation strike weren't just potential viable candidates for future leadership in Iran. They were like actively thought of as potentially compliant, which to my mind says Mossad spies. It's well known that Israeli intelligence had plants all over the Iranian government. They were literally everywhere. So, in essence, the Ayatollah martyred himself to take out a bunch of Mossad traitors with him. You know, I mean, you can take that for what you will, honestly. He's being received well in heaven. We don't actually like the Ayatollah here, but I don't like anyone less than I like the United States. I can tell you that much. So let me think, what else? We've given up on any explanation for what we're doing or why we're doing it. We have prompted Iran to begin targeting oil infrastructure in the Middle East, which, again, Iran is very capable of setting ablaze oil depots across the Middle East. If they start doing this in Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, it could lead to, again, I just want to be clear here, not just an emergency or inflation. It could lead to like a 28 days later-esque global shutdown. It would lead to like a greater economic crisis than we've ever seen, more than I can even describe, really. So good? Well, we would deserve it. But it would have a death toll, like a real big one all around the world. It turns out that Middle Eastern instability is actually really bad. I mean, Saddam Hussein invading Kuwait was why we did the Gulf War. We really don't want. Oil fields are very fragile. They literally, you bomb them and then they're on fire forever, basically. That's the point. It's pressurized. It's incredibly difficult to put them out. Like it's very, very fragile. It just takes one drone. And Iran knows this, and everyone knows this, but we started the war anyway, and Iran basically has limitless moral license to do what they want here, considering the state of the world and what's happening. So that's happening. We've almost certainly incurred a greater death toll with U.S. servicemen than we're admitting publicly. You should not trust U.S. media or the government. What else? What else? The Kurds aren't helping us. And, oh, right. Iran has said that they are, normally I would show you guys links, but I'm tired and I don't fucking care right now. Iran has said that they will no longer indiscriminately target their neighboring nations unless the United States fires from those locations. Essentially saying to Iraq, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and so on, control them. Because if they fire, we're hitting your oil fields. Time to bomb Dubai again? Only if UAE-based U.S. servicemen fire. So, we'll see how that goes. I hope they do. It's a good idea, driving a wedge between the United States and the Gulf states. Look, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, all those countries, they know that Israel is unbelievably evil, right? Like, the people who run Saudi Arabia are basically just businessmen, you know? The Saudi royal family, extremely evil, but evil in a very, like, banal capitalist sense. They're aware of the fact that Israel is evil in that sense, but also in the sense that they are ruled by fanatical and extremely well-armed ethno-nationalists. They know this. They've dealt with Israel not because they like Israel. Like, the reason Saudi Arabia and Israel get along isn't because they like each other. Israelis think the Saudis are subhuman, and the Saudis think the Israelis are fucking crazy. And a lot of the Saudis are probably also anti-Semitic, right? But their union is just one of mutual convenience. If Iran succeeds in driving a wedge between the two, essentially like, listen, okay, it's been fun, this alliance of yours, but if you keep allowing the U.S. and Israel to fire on us from your nation's military installations, we will burn your oil fields. We will take all of you down with us. I think they're right to do this. I think it's morally good. Very smart, considering the U.S. doesn't want to refill their air defense interceptors. Yeah, we very quickly began running out of those. Also, Iran was able to destroy quite a few of our THAAD installations, weren't they? THAAD, our fancy, extremely expensive air defense radar triangulators. I'm not exactly sure how the tech works. All I know is that they're very expensive. They took out an important radar. They took out several. Billions of dollars worth. Yes, we had 8 worldwide. Now we have 4. Incredible. So it's going well. Of course, keep in mind that all of this is happening at a great civilian cost. The people of Iran are who are the only civilians I'm really concerned about here. What's your general opinions of leftists who support Iran? Whether or not you support Iran is irrelevant at this point. Iran is fighting the Antichrist. Nothing else matters. Every civilian in Iran who dies to our bombs is martyring themselves in the service of a greater cause. We are so fucking evil. It is difficult to, I guess, rationalize. It sounds cartoonish, but like, Jesus Christ. The president and the secretary of defense are both just doing interviews, admitting we're just in it to kill people. You know, we had no idea what we were getting into. We had no plans. We had many ambitions, but no plans. And it might get worse. From NBC reporting, Trump has privately expressed serious interest in deploying U.S. troops on the ground inside of Iran. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it. Why not? Why not, man? Do it. Just a big old fleet of helicopters. I'm sure it'll go just like it did in Venezuela, where you could buy off all of their generals and all their air defensemen for like $5 a piece. I'm sure. It's smart because raising gas prices is the easiest lever of political pressure on the U.S. Yeah, well, you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about gas prices. You know, I feel like this deserves a little bit more in-depth consideration. Just a moment. I forgot where I had all of my links. Here's our president. Exclusive from Reuters. Trump on rising gas prices during Iran operation. If they rise, they rise. Mr. President. Well, hey, to all you climate doomers out there, okay, Trump has more or less unilaterally imposed the greatest carbon tax in world history. You're dooming about the climate? Our president just hit the big red button that doubles gas prices. I'm feeling quite bullish about the climate, actually. I think we're going to be bringing emissions down. Once we get those raging oil field fires under control, I think emissions are going to be looking swimmingly, honestly. Yeah, we're really helping EV sales. Maybe this whole thing's actually just a big roundabout subsidy for Tesla, you know? Not happy with the prices at the pump? $9 a gallon gas got you down? That's the price in Europe, by the way. Our American gas prices have always been super, super low. You know, we're an exceptional people. President Trump said on Thursday he was not concerned about rising U.S. gas prices, driven by the widening Iran conflict, telling Reuters in an exclusive interview that the U.S. military was his priority. I don't have any concern about it, he said when asked about higher prices at the pump. Truly incredible. For a U.S. president to just say they don't care about rising gas prices. Unbelievable. And honestly, bit Chad. I mean, it's like we're living in like a fucking Joker world, man. We're like in a funhouse mirror version of reality. This is insane. No one's ever done this before. I mean, that applies to a lot of stuff Trump said, but admitting you don't care if the gas prices go up, I don't. It's unbelievable. They'll drop rapidly when this is over, and if they rise, they rise, but this is far more important than having gasoline prices go up a little bit. So, as an advocate for bicycling, this is good. I'm happy about this. I don't know if Americans broadly will be. Over the past week, we've experienced what, and I think that this article is underplaying it a little bit, we've experienced the single fastest price hike in gasoline in history. At the very least, it's rivaling some of the gas crises. And this one looks like it's going to keep going up for a while. Oh, here, Polymarket odds. Thank you, Yahoo Finance. Let me just get the chart up. Particularly diesel. And, you know, we know our farmers love diesel. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed. No one's going through there. No one's going in or out, which means that a significant amount of the world's fossil fuels are just not doing anything. Rising gas prices mean rising everything prices because gas is fuel, and fuel is how you move commodities from point A to point B. So increase in gas prices lead down the line to an increase in food processing, food costs, processing costs. I mean, everything at every order of society takes gas or takes energy. But right now, for the most part, that energy comes in the form of gas when we're moving things around. Gonna not tell my MAGA family to stock up on gas, lol. You should tell them that you think the market is bullish and that if anything, they should be driving more. Also, natural gas is used to make fertilizer and sulfuric acid. I mean, it's not like plastics. We use it to make everything, man. We use it to make everything. Like I said earlier, you know, if Iran follows through on their threat and starts bombing the oil fields, it will be, I don't know. I don't even know. The lighting of the Kuwait oil fields was one of the worst climate related disasters, were worse for the environment. It was very, very bad. And it took a lot of effort to put them out. And these would be far larger fires spread out much more. Environmental disaster. Thank you. Kuwait oil fires. Yeah, the amount of, I mean, these just burned for months and months, and it was a nightmare. There was nothing you could do. The oil comes up; it's highly pressurized. The oil depot, the drill, you know, it's procuring it from the earth. It's being shot up from crevices deep in the earth, pressurized between slabs of earth or of rock. I mean, it just stays on fire forever, basically. Not forever, but like damn close. They're openly declaring they intend to have the U.S. occupy the Iranian oil fields to ease the crisis. Yeah. So I'm just guessing here, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel like Iran would rather bomb those fields than let the Americans have them. Also, what do you mean we're just going to take them over? Do you have any idea how difficult it is to set up oil extraction and processing in a hostile country? What? So we're going to put troops on the ground there, plus contractors, because soldiers on their own can't manage those oil fields, hundreds and thousands of them. And then we're going to operate these on what? Iranian electrical grids? We're going to have to bring our own infrastructure along with it. Hope none of these have remote shutoff codes. How much tech do we have to bring with us exactly? And then we have to move it out of the country. And at any point, Iran could just bomb these fields and kill us and make the whole thing a moot point. I'm sure they're considering it. I'm sure they're considering nuking Iran. I think that there's a non-zero chance of Israel doing it. And the United States media saying that it must have been an Iranian nuke that blew up errantly. I'd put it 5-10%. 6, maybe 7. That's a little joke for you guys. Hip little joke. I hope you guys liked it. So yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm maybe repeating myself a little bit here, but when is Jesus going to show up? Kyle thinks Israel could nuke Iran soon. Thoughts? I just said that. I just said, what do you mean? I just said that. What do you mean? What the fuck? Are you trying to accuse me of plagiarism? Is there a legal case being filed? Are you reporting this? Hello? Israel would. They would. Maybe they would. Who knows? There's no limit to their evil. Calling H-bomb on me. Would Vosh these the type of moves if they actually think there will be no more elections? Incoherent. I have no idea what you're talking about. Let's talk about what I want to talk about, which is gas prices. It has been a long time since we have seen gas prices surge this fast. I believe it's the fastest. It's insane. Why can't I get a chart on this? Why am I having a difficult time? Why am I having a difficult time finding this? Keep showing me Washington gas prices as though I'm looking to get a deal at the pump right now. Which I'm not. I'm streaming. I'm not driving around. Want to go grab a few barrels? That'd be nice. Gas Buddy, what the hell is this? There we go. Thank you. Don't know why I was struggling so much to find that. Look at that, man. Phew. Yeah, one of the big causes of the inflation bump that happened under Biden, it wasn't just a post-COVID thing. It was also the consequence of gas prices going up following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, of course. A lot of oil and natural gas come out of Russia. So it took a while to drive that down. Look at that spike, just a straight vertical line, especially with diesel. The diesel price is the real kicker. Yep. More farmers are going to kill themselves. Sad. Who did they vote for? Sorry. Politically incorrect for me to ask. I shouldn't. Very sad. No, it's very sad. They did vote for this, yeah. The fertilizer costs are a bigger issue. Yes, globally. Some people have pointed out that we get a lot of fertilizer from Canada, which is true, but for one, not all. And for two, we're not the only country on Earth. Is it over? I think the problem fundamentally is that as a consequence of our pedophilic inbred ruling caste losing touch with reality, which was the inevitable consequence of the end of the Cold War, with us having no natural predators, no other enemies, we have forgotten that we can't do anything. Because for Trump's entire life and the people around him, they have always been able to do anything. They've killed people and gotten away with it. They've raped children. They've stolen money. They've openly broken the law in full view of the news media, and the news media just lies to defend them. There have been no consequences to their behavior. They think they're gods. And for all intents and purposes, they may as well be. Trump and the people around him have had more immunity shielding them than any pharaoh or, divinely ordained king in human history. No one has ever been so protected from the consequences of their actions. There have been Chinese emperors with divine mandates who have more cruelly befallen the consequences of their own poor decision making than the people who rule over us now. They can do anything they want, or at least they think they can. So as a consequence, they just don't think there are any consequences. They think they can just bomb Iran, a country with about 100 million people, with a bunch of missiles and drones that we know they've been producing and stockpiling in anticipation of Western imperialism. We knew that the IRGC could operate autonomously without the heads that would be killing in the decapitation strike. We knew the population of Iran was not interested in just rising up and replacing their leadership with a America-friendly, foreign patsy. We knew that Iran was very capable of lighting the oil fields of the Middle East on fire if it chose to, and that it could pepper U.S. military bases because it is far more expensive to build an interceptor than it is a drone. We knew all of this, but it didn't matter because they literally don't think they can fail. So, yeah, I don't know. Gas prices are going up. Will it lead to anything? What about when it hits $100 a barrel? Right now it's what, 95? What if it hits 150? I don't know. Or a million. Or a million. 120 is when you get $5 a gallon gasoline. Yeah, I live in the West Coast. I've been dealing with $5 a gallon for my entire life. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I need to send these early bits over to the editors because they have patiently been waiting for me to actually stream. Trump has caused the single greatest gas price hike in history. Not enough venom in that title. I'm focusing my neurons towards other venom. We'll talk about it, Lamau. That's the next thing we're talking about. He's acting more and more like he's going to rig the midterms. We'll talk about that too. You think this is all to make America frack more oil? No. Sending it over. The title suggestions are garbage. They aren't nearly angry enough. I believe in you. Sending first two over. Title suggestion, Trump bad. Holy shit, say that again. Man, the Iran situation is crazy. Hey, say that again, man. Whoa, what? The thing you just said. The Iran situation is crazy? They know what they want. The people, they tell you, they know what they want. Oy, oy. Least vague Vosh title? Well, then stop clicking on the vague ones. Okay. So, many are probably wondering, okay, help me with the transition on this, please. Can somebody please get me this article? I'm linking to the tweet that links to the article. Give me the Wall Street Journal article to this, please. Just, can you procure that for me so I don't have to wait as soon as the stream starts? Or as soon as the segment starts, you can just hand that to me immediately. So I just don't have the magic touch. You guys have the magic touch. I don't. I've tried it. Already? No, that you just linked me the article. No, I need the access to the article. You just linked me the article. I could have done that. No hate, but okay, multiple people are just linking the article. Archive? Wonderful, thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. So, you know, I really do not like conspiracism. I think that for the most part, even when people are acting in very suspicious ways, you can usually attribute their behavior and their reasoning to the flow of money, or at the very least, the flow of perceived material interests. You know, like even in the craziest cases, I think for the most part, it's usually, in my opinion, a little bit low IQ to focus on this like magical behind the scenes, intangible motivation when usually there's stuff that's more upfront, which is why I really appreciate known Christian evangelical and closeted homosexual Lindsey Graham for just saying it. From the Wall Street Journal. To help make the case in Iran, Lindsey Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks, meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency, that's Mossad. Quote, "They'll tell me things our own government won't tell me," he said. He spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, coaching him on how to lobby the president for action. So, from Lindsey Graham's own mouth, he has traveled multiple times to meet with Israeli spies and their prime minister, who have been coaching him on how to convince Trump to enter in this war with Iran. So treason? It would be if Israel and America were different countries. Why would he admit this? Because he, like the rest of them, are invulnerable pedophiles. They have spent their entire lives never facing consequences. So why wouldn't he? You know? Hell, the people at the Wall Street Journal he was talking to probably thought it was great, you know? It's a big club. I'm having a hard time grappling with this. It's so... As Lindsey Graham tried to sell Donald Trump on bombing Iran, he'd like to play a little word association game with the president. I say Franklin Roosevelt. What do you say? The Republican senator from South Carolina asked. The correct answer, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. As he ticked through memorable presidential phrases, Graham asked Trump what his phrase would be. Trump said he didn't know, Graham recalled. Keep protesting, help is on the way, Graham suggested, referring to Trump's social media post in January urging Iranians to confront their government. This is elder abuse. This is a longtime Republican senator acting on behalf of, by his own admission, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Mossad agents, trying to mentally woo Trump, who is feeble-minded and dementia-ridden, into warring with Iran. He is unambiguously an Israeli asset. That's not like a hyperbolic claim. It's definitionally what he has claimed to be. Literally Wormtongue? No, because Wormtongue never admitted that he was just relaying information from Saruman. So this would be like if Wormtongue said that, and we were all supposed to pretend this was normal. Few people lobbied Trump to undertake the riskiest gambit of his presidency as effectively as the hawkish and persistent Graham, who over a decade has held a sometimes close, sometimes tumultuous relationship with Trump. Some Democrats and even Republicans point the finger at Graham, who they think goaded Trump into a Middle East conflict with little plan for how the situation will play out long term. Lindsay hasn't. I'm sorry if this is like tedious to anyone. I know sometimes when I just read an article, I feel like I'm being boring or I'm doing the YouTube thing, but it is a U.S. senator admitting to being an asset to Mossad, to Israeli intelligence. I just don't. No consequences, never consequences, ever, never. And Schumer's fine with this. Oh, we'll get to him. Actually, know what? We're not gonna. Let's not get to. Let's take a step away from this for a second. Actually, let's take a look at what the opposition is doing. Okay, so this was recently made viral on Twitter. It's from a visit to a synagogue at the beginning of last month, if I remember correctly.
But I have many jobs as
February
majority
1st.
leader, as the first Jewish majority leader ever. And one is to fight for aid to Israel, all the aid that Israel needs. I will continue to fight for it. And we delivered more security assistance to Israel, our ally, under my leadership than ever before. We will keep doing that, everybody. It is so important. I will always fight to give Israel what it needs and to protect itself from the many in that difficult region who want to wipe Israel off the face of the map. We have to do everything to do that.
So, that's cool. I'm becoming the Joker. Yeah, I mean, he does this like every week. He goes to a synagogue. He talks like this. Oh, remember how Gavin Newsom recently, his consultants told him like, hey, did you know that Democrats don't like Israel anymore? Gavin Newsom, never heard of AIPAC. He all of a sudden he developed the conscience and he said, yeah, it was a genocide. Gavin Newsom has had the collar around his neck pulled violently by Jewish community leaders. Gavin Newsom's top senior staff met privately over Zoom with Jewish community leaders Wednesday. They called for a clear statement from the governor that Israel is not an apartheid state and to affirm support for U.S.-Israel ties. Oh, sorry, Gavin. Oh, I know. I know you were lying anyway. I know you were being disingenuous. You didn't actually give a fuck about the Palestinians. But, you grifted too far in our direction. Now they're pulling the chain back. All of your top staff, for some reason, have to listen to Jewish community leaders explain how you, if made president, need to continue to provide weapons to Israel. So, why do Jewish community leaders get to pull in the top staff of a governor, soon-to-be presidential candidate, to demand allegiance to a foreign nation? I don't know. I mean, you can... It makes you wonder. I actually haven't seen this full clip myself, and after I watch it, I'm going to go back to the original article that we were reading with Lindsey Graham. But to get a full, I want to get a full idea for the degree to which Trump has been made susceptible to this, Hasbara, this Mossad propaganda, which we know he's being subjected to. It's not a lie. When you can say like Israeli intelligence is trying to brainwash Trump, and that's like factually completely, it should, like, it's the easy, it should like point to the guy saying he's doing it, right? I mean, you'd have to argue that Lindsey Graham is lying about the thing he himself is doing.
As President of the United States, I will always support Jewish Americans, and I will always be a friend and a champion to the Jewish people. I have been. And I will say, if you go back 10, 12, 15 years ago at the most, the strongest lobby in Washington was the Jewish lobby.
You can't just say that, man. White baby, you can't be talking like that. Goy baby, you can't.
Was Israel. That's no longer true.
No, notice, by the way, how here he just said the Jewish lobby, Israel.
in Washington was the Jewish lobby. It was Israel.
Huh.
That's no longer true. You have to be very careful. You have a Congress in particular which is becoming anti-Semitic. You have AOC +3. You have those people, Ilhan Omar, she hates Jewish people. And you have to be very careful because there's been a big change. You know, if you go back 15 years ago, I'm not Jewish, but my father was very friendly with many, many Jewish people, was honored by Federation. I would go with him to Federation of Jewish Philanthropies and many other things. And we grew up respecting and loving Jewish people. You know, you don't even think about it. In Brooklyn and Queens mostly. And my father didn't go to Manhattan.
Does he talk like this about other groups? Just other groups? He doesn't even talk about Christians like this. I mean, he said America is a Christian nation, right? He does the Christian nationalist propaganda, but this like protracted, drooling adoration, this, I mean, you know who's been talking to him.
He never went to Manhattan from the standpoint. He could never understand how in Brooklyn you could buy a piece of land for $3 a foot and how in Manhattan you had to pay $1,000 a foot. He said, I can't get that. I don't like it. I like to buy it for $3. So it was different. It's a different thinking. In a way, I'm glad he didn't do that because he let me have some of that fun. And I had a lot of fun in Manhattan. We did great. But my father would tell me the most powerful lobby that there is in this country is the Jewish lobby.
His dad was in the KKK? Yeah. So I wonder why he said that then. Like, it kind of seems like Trump is saying, my father believed in the JQ, and I also believe in it, but aspirationally. Like JQ parentheses pause. Which is a fascinating take. Like the Japanese.
It's the Israeli lobby.
He did it again. He did it twice now. He's done this twice. The Jewish lobby. I mean, the Israeli lobby. Twice. He's done this twice now. Twice in 2 minutes.
It's not that way anymore. You have a lot of people in your way. You have a lot of people that don't want to help Israel. You have a lot of people in Congress that don't like Israel. You have a lot of people in Congress that, in a way, I think, Mike, we could say it, right? You're there. You're doing an amazing job, Mike Lawler. They hate Israel. They hate Israel. And if you would have told me 15 years ago that that was possible, Jason, I would have said, there's no way. There's no way that's possible.
He ever talked about another country like this? Just think of like every country we're allied with. You can think the United Kingdom, France, Spain, Germany, every country basically on earth. He done this before? He doesn't even do this for America. Dude fucking hates America. All he does is shit talk America. Just this one. Just one country he's not allowed to criticize.
But it's happening, and obviously it's getting progressively worse. Less so in the Senate, but the Senate's starting also. You get glimmers, you know, when I'm in the back rooms.
Just Saudi Arabia when he was there. Yeah, the big difference, though, is that whenever he praises Saudi Arabia or whatever else, or like, Qatar, he's doing it in an obvious, like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, grifty businessman kind of way. Give me a free jet? Oh, what a great country. You know, agree to invest in this or that or the other. Oh, it's going up. Stocks are going up. It's great. What the fuck has Israel ever done for us apart from make everything worse? What have they even done for Trump? It's not like Netanyahu praises Trump, but outside of that, I mean, there are tons of sycophant, dipshit, authoritarian leaders across the world who praise Trump. They don't get this kind of lavish attention. Trump is easily captured by lobbies because he's stupid and susceptible to flattery. But he is completely captured now. Trump wanted, and I mean this, I believed him when he said this, and I still do. Trump wanted peace in the Middle East as long as the peace that's being referred to is this like grandiose, thank God for President Trump, he did it, he solved everything. He's like man-made Abraham Accords. You know, he's like Abraham Accords taking the form of a man. That's what he wanted. Like in the same way he wants peace between Ukraine and Russia. And I don't even think he cares like how much territory Russia keeps. He just wants to be the guy known as the one who fixed it. I'm not saying he's not a warmonger. He is. I'm just saying that he loves feeling like he's accomplished the peace, right? What he's doing right now with Iran, tanking his future viability, right? Like the viability of his party, right? This is incredibly bad. There is no fucking way this works out. And he's acting against the wishes of the Pentagon and Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. So that's for one. All of that and re-engaging in conflict at the whims of another country. There's so much that's being done here that's contrary to his nature. And I think it's because he has been utterly, completely captured, like by people like Lindsey Graham, you know? We'll get back to that article, but yeah, I think that Israeli intelligence has done a number on him. I think Israeli intelligence has done a number on a lot of people, and I think that Trump is just incredibly susceptible, and he's also surrounded by people who have themselves basically become Israeli assets, like HEGSETH, so as a consequence, there aren't as many people around him who are pulling him back into sanity, you know? Again, sanity in this case being a very relative term. I'm not saying that Trump would be a great guy were it not for Israel. You know, I don't want to be misunderstood. What I'm saying is that this particular fuck-up is driven by a brand of insane evangelicism that Trump does not believe in. He's not ideologically a Zionist. Trump wouldn't give a shit if the Saudi royal family controlled Israel. As long as the people there were nice to him and said nice stuff about him, that's all he cares about. But he's dying on this hill, and I think it's because he's been told he has to.
Talking to people, you get glimmers of statements that you say, whoa, where did that come from? So we have to be, Sid, we have to be very careful because bad things are happening. And then you see what goes on in Australia or October 7th. How about October 7th? And then you have people that deny it ever happened. How about the people that deny... Like they
deny October 7th ever happened? I've seen a lot of crazy people online. I can't say I've seen that.
Deny the Holocaust, but you know, you figure, well, that's just many years. Well, October 7th is not many years at all. And you have people that deny October. I saw tape that I wish I never saw it, actually. I wish I never saw it. I got to see tape that
I hope you're excited to argue with Nazis for the rest of your life after this. It doesn't really matter that much. You know why? Because so far, all the young Nazis that have entered the Republican Party have basically existed to slob the knobs of the Zionists above them. You know? Like, Nazis in the Republican Party could never meaningfully oppose Zionism because they would just recreate it from first principles. Zionism doesn't exist because of Judaism. Zionism is just an amalgamation of corporate and pedophilic power, which they would immediately recreate if given the chance. It wouldn't matter if it was being done by the Jews. It could be done by Protestants or Orthodox or Hindus. It doesn't really matter. But Nazis love corporate power and pedophilia, so they would just recreate it. You know, the only thing that like distinguishes a young Republican neo-Nazi from a Israel worshiping Christian evangelical is that they're like one step removed from the recreation of the Zionist affect. You know, oh sure, maybe you don't like the fact that Epstein was Jewish and that we're worshiping Israel right now, but all of the underlying power structures could just coagulate around a different ethnic group. It wouldn't matter to you. You would just recreate it. I just watched a video about how the original Nazis and Zionists worked together. Scary but interesting. Yeah, well, Zionism has always been, it's literally like a blood and soil project. So, of course, there have always been, like, overlaps. It's not It's not a secret.
Some of you got to see, but as president, I got to see things I wish I never saw. But there's no denying it. But then they'll say, oh, the tape was a rigged tape. It was a tape that never existed. They
Excuse
made it
me?
up. It's just propaganda. I don't know if they believe it. I don't think they believe it, but you have to be very, very careful. Bad things are happening, and we're not going to let that happen. While I'm president and the DOJ and Harmeet, we're not going to let it happen, but please.
I think the biggest tell that this is Trump being captured by Israel is that I've never seen Trump frame a military intervention in a way that was not self-aggrandizing. Like, Trump is essentially saying we need to invade Iran because people are too bigoted against Jews. When the fuck has he ever talked like that? He should be rambling about how he's the greatest and smartest president ever and how the Iranian people love him in actuality and that this will all be over in a day. What is this, like, minutes-long ramble? Oh, my father said the Jews were the biggest lobby. What are you on about? This is the JQ parentheses pause, and that's what he's been told to believe. Yes, Bibi has done Holocaust denial.
Please be vigilant and careful, because you have some bad people that are now in Congress that were unthinkable to be in Congress 12, 13, 14 years ago, 15 years ago.
So, back to the article. Sitting in his Senate office this week with canisters of Planters peanuts and hundreds of scattered papers on his desk and signed MAGA hats on his shelves, Graham was almost giddy about persuading Trump to bomb Iran. One of the newer hats reads, "Make Iran Great Again." "What are they going to do to me?" he said of critics who opposed his efforts. That's how he responds to criticism. What are you going to do about it? Well, I guess that's a fair question. The senator said he was already talking with Trump about further military interventions in Lebanon and potentially Cuba, which he said would happen soon. He wasn't particularly concerned about what was next in Iran, he said. How interesting. He wasn't particularly concerned about what happened next in Iran. The day after the attack began, Graham told NBC's Meet the Press that the goal of the Iran operation is to change the threat, not the regime, adding the U.S. would not pick Iran's next leader. "They say if you break it, you own it. I don't buy that. You break it when it's a threat," Graham said in the Journal interview. How would an intervention work in Lebanon? We're already doing it. Well, I mean, Israel is, and we'll do whatever Israel says. In the White House, some military advisors warned Trump against the conflict, a group that Graham referred as the non-entanglement crowd. Graham said betting on Trump's second term was worth it for the president's military interventions alone. In the first term, Graham said, Trump probably wouldn't have bombed Iran. He didn't have as much confidence in the military and as much knowledge about how the world worked. Well, the real reason was because October 7th hadn't happened, and Israel had not engaged in a concerted all-out effort to consolidate its power in the Republican Party to get them to do anything they wanted. I mean, it definitely helped that Biden also did anything they wanted. Other Republican presidents wouldn't have greenlighted the Iran operation either, he said, something that he keeps reminding Trump of. To help make the case in Iran, oh, right, here it is. Graham traveled several times to Israel in recent weeks, meeting with members of the country's intelligence agency. They tell me things our own government won't tell me, he said. He spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, coaching him how to lobby the president for action. They know this is their last chance to ever fulfill the neocon fantasies that they're going all in. I still think that a lot of this would have played out if Biden or Kamala Harris had won in 2024, because we know that they're also extremely captured. I don't think that America would have gotten directly involved in bombing Iran, but every day they lied to protect Israel. No benefit to America's interests. Israel spat in our face every day. They lied. They were such ungrateful little shits. Netanyahu was never satisfied with the lies that Biden told on his behalf in ways that only hurt Biden. Biden only suffered for what he did to defend Israel. It only hurt him in the long run. Kamala lost the election because of it. And still they defend it. Graham also talked to the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, to make sure he was aware. I went to MBS to say, okay, I think this is going down. Loved it. Just again, love the, just, I'm a U.S. senator and I'm doing, I'm like talking to foreign powers to negotiate without the president's approval. Just really super normal stuff. It's not supposed to happen, but I appreciate him being straightforward about it. Super cool. I don't. Graham's long game. Graham's long won a regime change in Iran, but has never had a president willing to go as far as Trump. In 2015, Trump famously read Graham's cell phone number on stage after Graham called him a jackass. Graham sharply criticized Trump over the riot by Trump supporters on January 6th at the Capitol. Trump has remarked to aides about how much Graham gets booed at the president's rallies in South Carolina, and Graham has occasionally annoyed Trump with his persistence, White House officials say. How does Graham stay elected? Republican voters are cattle, and they will do whatever they're directed to do by the party. It doesn't matter. Graham could advocate for federal legislation that would force every Republican in South Carolina to eat at least 1 kilogram of cow feces a year, and they would still vote for him. They will do whatever they're told to do. Other aides, including Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, pushed talks. Graham pushed regime change. I said, they don't want a deal, he said. They're not trying to buy a house. They're trying to burn your house down. Lebanon next. Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how much mainstream coverage this is going to get. In my opinion, a senator saying that he's operating as an asset of Israeli intelligence to convince the president to engage in a war on behalf of a foreign nation sounds like treason to me. I don't know what the punishment is for treason. It's probably pretty bad. Wish somebody would look into that. But, you know, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a legal expert. Seems bad to me. Too bad the law isn't real. This Graham thing is making me think Russia might not even have that much dirt on Trump. I don't think it's a dirt thing. We all know Trump is a pedophile. Everyone knows Trump is a pedophile. Like, what difference would it make? So Russia releases what? A video, it could be a video of Trump raping a 10-year-old. What would it do? What would it do? Really? What would it do? Would it tell you anything you didn't already know? They're all pedophile. What is it? They're all the most evil people alive. We all know there's no bar here. Corporate media continues to defend this and allows this to happen because corporate media is bought in by the same interests, you know. Go look at the Ellisons. Do you think they want Trump in Iran right now? The answer is yes. I'm being facetious. The media moguls also want us there. Just a little bit depressing. Oh, false flags. Here's a Twitter headline for you. If you want like a nice conclusion to this ramble. New. The White House is blocking the FBI and top U.S. intelligence agencies from warning law enforcement across the country about new terror threats to the homeland tied to the war with Iran. How interesting. What an interesting thing for them to decide to not do. The Daily Mail. You know why it's here? I bet you other news agencies won't pick up on it. The FBI, Homeland Security, and National Counterterrorism Center, the National Counterterrorism Center, were preparing to put out a joint intelligence statement on Friday to state and local authorities, alerting them of a heightened threat due to the ongoing war with Iran, a senior DHS official said. The bulletin, which was reviewed by the Daily Mail, details elevated threats by the government of Iran to U.S. military and government personnel and facilities, Jewish and Israeli institutions and their perceived supporters, and Iranian dissidents and other anti-regime activists in the United States. Radicalized individuals with a variety of ideological backgrounds may see this conflict or other geopolitical events as a justification for violence. 5-page bulletin blocked by the White House provides specific details on how Iranian proxies may carry out attacks across the country. The official title is A Public Safety Awareness Report, Elevated Threat in the United States During Iran-U.S. Conflict. Homeland Security broke protocol and gave the White House a heads up about the nationwide bulletin hours before it was set to be released. Top Trump officials ordered it placed on hold. The White House did not deny blocking the terror bulletin in a statement to the Daily Mail. So, why would they do this? So, first possible reason, they don't want to raise alarm. It's possible that the White House is already freaking out a little bit over how quickly things are spiraling out of control with this engagement with Iran, and they worry that a terror bulletin going out to all points might lead to more discourse, lead to more concern. It might lead to subsequent media reports, police chiefs and the like talking about it. They don't want to they don't want to like publicly acknowledge how bad this could be. That's possibility number one. I think it's pretty likely. Possibility number two, false flags, baby. As we know, the American government and Israel are the worst and most evil people alive. There's nothing that they won't do. There's no evil they won't enact. They would kill billions of people if they could. They would do it for fun. They might still do it for fun. We'll see if they hit the big red button at some point. They're unimaginably evil. So it's possible that they are just clearing the ground and making it easier for some of their stupid little fucking plans to work. See, remember, the federal government doesn't control local law enforcement. The American policing system is extremely decentralized. So if you were setting up a potential false flag and then local law enforcement caught wind of it and did something to intercept it, local law enforcement there aren't going to be like complicit in your scheme to do the false flag. You know what I mean? Like if the feds are trying to do something, but Joe Schmo cop, you know, down at a local level catches it, they're not going to like get in on it. They're not going to like quietly brief this random cop on how like, hey, we're doing a thing here. You know, they don't want local law enforcement to intervene or get involved or anything. Yeah, local law enforcement could potentially fuck the whole thing up. So maybe the goal here is to set the stage for false flags, you know. See if we can't get a couple of suicide bombings, might gin the American people up for more war with Iran. If they do that, I don't think it's going to work. Potential or possibility number three, potential explanation number three, totally, John, I think you're on the money. This could be part of an effort to stop the elections, stop the midterms. We are approaching very rapidly a point of maximal instability. A bunch of factors are racing to collide with each other. So we have the blocking of the Strait of Hormuz. We have the oil fields potentially being lit ablaze, the rising cost of gas, which is going to lead to subsequent rising costs down the line. We have the threat of political instability from people who are upset about us. These fucking snowflakes. They're mad about us, like, just slaughtering civilians in Iran. So maybe that gets some people angry. They do a couple terrorist attacks, you know, and then what? That's the exact strategy Netanyahu took. Didn't Netanyahu recently just like threaten everyone? Was that a recent clip? I saw it on Twitter, you know, where I get all my news because I'm so smart. He did. He loves that. Yeah. Hold on. Let me find that real quick. It was, again, with all the subtlety that you would expect from people who have been fucking kids their whole lives and have never faced any consequences for it.
אני דורש מממשלות המערב לעשות את מה שנדרש כדי להילחם באנטישמיות ולתת את הביטחון הדרוש, את ההבטחה הדרושה לקהילות היהודיות בעולם. וכדאי שיקשיבו לאזהרות שלנו. אני דורש מהם פעולה עכשיו.
I don't know. He looks like death, one might hope. Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that too much. Wouldn't bet on that too much. What language is that? That was English. You're having a stroke. How is this school popular in Israel? A fun fact, he wasn't. He was really unpopular. But then he started killing non-Jews, and his popularity went up. Next question. That's the actual answer, by the way. He's even more popular with younger Israelis. Anyway, we'll see how it all plans out. It is a demon country. How to balance mental health with world awareness. Have you seen this? Yes, and I'm uninterested in it. Well, have you heard of the Mamdani assassination attempt? No. I don't know. I don't know what this is or what this means. I'm just looking at video. I don't know anything about the video. This was a counter-protest for Jake Lang, who was fucking a goat last night in front of reporters. I have no idea what you're talking about, and I would prefer to keep it that way. I do not. Oh, dude, you got to see it. I really don't, actually. I actually don't. I don't have to see it. As I've said before, my girlfriend is Iranian, and I've been feeling really shitty about it all recently. Thankfully, your streams have restored hope in me. Thank you. Hold on, hold on. I have not... Respectfully, I have not given you anything hopeful to work with. Yeah, though, I have no idea if this is even near Mamdani such and such. Hope? What hope? Listen, the only hope that I have is that the powers that be have forgotten that there can be consequences to their actions, because thus far they have only really grappled with the kinds of behaviors that would get you in trouble with, like, law enforcement or political blowback, right? Like, Trump has fucked a bunch of kids, he's seen people killed, whatever. That's all law enforcement. For rich people, that's nothing. And politically, he faces no consequences because he's protected both by his party and by the media. So in this respect, he is invulnerable. But the invasion of Iran, even if it doesn't go to a ground invasion, but especially if it does, causes problems that have nothing to do with politics or law enforcement, and instead have everything to do with stuff like economics, global trade, and resource scarcity, which are real material empirical things that you can't work around by having everyone on your side. Why are your lights off? I have a headache. That's the hope you gave me. There's a chance, even if it flickers, it'll stop at some point in the near future. Yeah. We can only hope. The math is working out in Iran's favor, not in terms of, like, them winning, but, you know, it doesn't take that much firepower. If you can produce a Shahed drone, which they can produce a lot of them. If you can do that, then potentially you can light the oil fields. And if they can do that, they can bring everything to a halt. I mean, Iran going after oil infrastructure in the Gulf states would be more ruinous than if we were to carpet their country in nuclear bombs. It would be like the long-term global ramifications would be, I mean, up there with like a medium-sized nuclear war if they really took apart oil infrastructure in the Middle East, which is why they should. They are the Joker, baby. To your earlier point about false flags, I don't think they're impossible. How many false flags have Israel and the U.S. actually done? Serious question. I think it depends on your definition. There is a decent amount of evidence that Israel has long conducted. Like, Israel does false flags the same way that Russia does. They do them, but retarded. The problem that people have with false flags, they assume the people engaging in them are like intelligent operators. Usually they're done by insane people. It's like you find the most mentally unstable person you can in another nation's city and you fucking brainwash them and you throw propaganda their way and then you like incur. The FBI did this all the time after 9/11. The FBI got a bunch of funding and they were essentially told, hey, you need to stop Islamic terrorism. 9/11 just happened, buddy. You got to stop this before it happens. But the FBI couldn't find any because it turns out the people who fucking did 9/11 were dead. They hit the building. So the most they could really hope for was they basically just started like grooming Muslim teenagers online and trying to convince them to become Islamic radicals so they could then arrest them, you know? And that is a kind of false flag. That is a kind of false flag. It is the government deliberately trying to, for political reasons, because the goal here is to provide this narrative of the FBI like stopping Islamic terror, you know, to produce terrorists so you can stop them. Whether or not they actually conduct the terror attack is not necessarily the point. The point is like, what narrative does it produce? We know Russia likes to do this and Israel does this as well. So I'm sure there's going to be at least an effort at doing this. Yes. I believe the term is entrapment. Yeah, I just think that if you're doing entrapment for political reasons, you're kind of getting into the term false flag. Have you seen how the media calls this the Iran war as if Iran is to blame? Well, we do that with all wars, because in America, like if we're involved, like we don't say the American Vietnam War, we say the Vietnam War, right? Because the implication is we're involved, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it. We should call this the evangelical death cult war. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish it was limited to that, but like as a consequence of some very successful polarization following October 7th, we do also have to reconcile with the fact that basically every Jewish org in America is like Hitlerite now. Like with Gavin Newsom, right? Gavin Newsom issues some disingenuous milquetoast criticism of Israel, and then a bunch of Jewish community leaders start pinging his office saying like, hey, you're still gonna, if you become president, you're still gonna give us weapons, right? Like really bad stuff, you know? Unfortunately, like the long-term political demographics of the American Jewish population have definitely shifted rightward since October 7th. Really, really nasty. So yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to deal with the consequences of that. Are young Jews in the US less pro-Israel these days? Totally depends on who you're talking about. Totally, totally, totally depends. What I'm mostly talking about isn't actually like the people, but the community leaders, synagogues, advocacy groups, civil rights groups, you know. A lot of these groups already had ties to Israeli power, like the what are they called? Chabads. Tucker Carlson got in some hot water for talking about them recently. That like the global network of like Jewish advocacy and religious groups. It's a whole thing, you know. It totally depends on who, but a lot of these groups do, the power structures root back to Israel, at least for a lot of them, you know, or at least there's a susceptibility. And a lot of the people that run these, you know, community organizations or synagogues, they're like older guys, right? You know, you got like rabbis, they lead a synagogue. I don't know how the whole structure works, but they're older guys. They're probably more susceptible to conservative arguments. Birthright trips, yeah. Why would Iran bomb all the oil fields? I don't think they're that crazy. I think they should get to do whatever they want as a treat. Shabbat was the one that had the tunnels, so a lot of anti-Semites like talking about them. Okay, but the tunnel thing, funny as it was, I hope everyone understands, that was literally just those guys being crazy. Like, the Jews don't have a big national or international strategy of building tunnels for some reason. It was like a land dispute between two different Jewish community groups where they were upset because they thought they wanted more land, but they couldn't acquire like the neighboring buildings, so they started digging underneath it. It was like it was the reason for the tunnels was very stupid. It didn't really have anything to do with like Israeli power, you know? Also, yeah, I would 100% dig a tunnel if I was given the opportunity. If somebody told me, like, I'm sitting in a basement, they're like, here's a shovel, dig a tunnel. Fuck yes. I've been waiting for this my entire life. All right. Quit the damn Pepe posting. I have not spent 6.7 years being a stalwart advocate for egalitarianism for all of my advocacy to fall apart because you know, Jewish institutional power has been pretty effectively like radicalized, you know, after October 7th. Jesus Christ. I mean, you want to talk about institutional power. We talk about whites, men, and Christians, but, you know, we still have to be nuanced when we talk about these groups. Are tunnels not evil? No, tunnels are good. Caves are evil. Yeah, tunnels are mystical. Labyrinths are evil? Labyrinths are definitionally evil. A labyrinth? Yeah, of course. Labyrinths are constructed to be evil. They have to be. It's what they're made to be. Man, I really don't believe the text of a religion means that much because nobody reads their holy text. Everyone LARPs. All religion is fake. But some of that, what is it? Chabad? I forgot. What some of that stuff, man. Um, the fucking, you guys see the animal souls bit versus the two souls? Like they think Jews have two souls, an animal soul and a divine soul, but Gentiles only have the animal soul. That shit was crazy. Heard it from Grok. It's Chabad. It's not Chabad, it's Chabad. Oh, okay. That sounds pretty dehumanizing. Yeah, it's not great. So anyway, I hope they don't. Hope they don't nuke Iran. Maybe I should get in on some of those poly market bets. I wonder. It's going to be so fucked up if Israel drops a nuke on Iran and I then have to deal with all of Western media defending it, and I can't even be that mad on stream, because if I do, YouTube will get mad at me. That's gonna be really frustrating, you know? That's gonna suck. Mainstream, the average mainstream news and NYT commentator, actually, this was the only chance Israel had to finally secure peace and freedom for the Middle East. Me, a YouTube streamer, I'm like white knuckling the fucking table. I have to like, I'm just, the tips of my finger bones are slowly being ground into dust. I'm gonna have to do a Rumble stream. Dressing more like Mao every day. This is a fucking American military overshirt. Shut up. Netanyahu is an unambiguously genocidal, referred to Iran as Amalek. Dude, he's been referring to everyone as Amalek. Everyone's Amalek. Everyone.
אנחנו קראנו בפרשת השבוע, זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק. אנחנו זוכרים.
The really funny thing is that Netanyahu is secular himself, so he's just adopting this rhetoric as a way of metaphysically justifying genocide.
ואנחנו פועלים.
And if this regime of terror has nuclear weapons, they will threaten all of humanity. Therefore, we went out to push away this danger too, first of all from ourselves, from us. But we are acting here together with the United States in the name of and for the sake of all humanity. I draw immense strength from the resilience of our citizens, from the heroism of our soldiers and commanders. We read in this week's Torah portion, remember what Amalek did to you. We remember, and we act.
Sounds like an AI translation. It doesn't matter. He's made the Amalek reference many times. The specific, this specific translation is immaterial. He said this many times. Not just about Iran. He says this about everyone. He said this about Hamas. He said this about fucking Hezbollah. Say this about everyone. He'll say this about Turkey. Eventually, he'll get Turkey. Turkey, they would prefer. Anyone seen the flood of Amalek equals Iran AI slop on social media? No, but I'm sure it's there, all funded by Mossad. Charlie Kirk found alive in Iran. I think it's so funny that Candace Owens right now is building an incredibly lucrative career off of the delusion that Charlie Kirk would be anything other than extremely happy about everything Israel is doing right now. Like, wasn't Charlie Kirk was an evangelical? He would be up the moon. I don't think he was like a genuine believer, but this is all like on the tag. This is phenomenal for him. Like, he wouldn't be gunning this on the whole time, you know? Really funny. Oh, to people who don't know, Amalek is like the ancient enemy of Israel. They the nation of Amalek like attacked the Israelites after the Exodus, and they were huge dicks about it. They're like big, nasty, evil in the, you know, the Old Testament. So when he says Iran is Amalek, he's essentially saying these people are like a biblical enemy, an existential threat, an evil that is so great that it's like you know, biblically encoded into our people. You know, you get me. In the Old Testament, God commanded the Israelites to genocide the Amalek. Well, there you go. And it says to kill even the babies? Yes. When you said 28 days later, how hyperbolic were you being? A little bit, because there'd be there wouldn't be any zombies. But that was in reference to what would happen if Iran went big boy mode and started blowing up all of the oil infrastructure in the Gulf states, which, like, if they did that, it would be a really big deal. What is this? Charlie Kirk's prediction of Iran came true. Really?
Iran does have a conventional military.
Oh my fucking God, that audio.
They are a proud and they are a big country. Possible case scenario is Iran says, okay, you humiliated us, you killed all of our leaders. We're going to go make this a regional mess and try to get as many people involved as possible. They're going to go after Americans, they're going to go after Saudis, they're going to go after everybody imaginable just to create a big mess and to try to draw the world into it. Because understand, the Iranian people are widely respected and not necessarily are always in sync with leadership. But if and when the people of Iran feel like Persia is being defaced and humiliated and disrespected, we don't know where that is going to go. And that's my final reason why I am always skeptical.
This isn't really a prediction. I mean, this is just like, you'd have to be a retard to not understand this. I'm sorry, I'm not, pardon me for, like, you know, smearing the legacy of a dead man here, but, like, this is pretty, like, really, conflict with Iran, the Iranian leadership and their people don't always agree on everything, and a conflict with Iran could lead to, like, knock-on effects that cause a bunch of destabilization in the Middle East? Really? Holy shit. So it would only be like every other time we did anything in the Middle East. This guy's pretty smart. Wonder what he's up to now. Charlie Kirk's death really did, like, fracture the right, though, huh? Sometimes I feel like Charlie Kirk was the only guy holding together the like Nazi ethno-skeptic types and the more moderate, relatively moderate, you know, neocon types, right? He threaded that line, and you had dissidents like Fuentes who were, like, way out on that, but he did try to keep most people on the level. No? So, yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. The only reason I'm here right now is because this stuff is bad enough that it felt like I had to. I mean, I'll be here tomorrow. MGS2? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You know I'm not going to play it right now. Okay? I have a headache. You know I'm tired. You know I'm not going to fucking play MGS2 right now. You know I'm not going to. I want to. I was enjoying the game. I want to play more of it. You know I'm not going to right now. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil 9, or maybe Deltarune. We'll figure it out. It's too many fucking games. Too many. It's hard to do all this when the news is playing out the way that it is. That whole bit that I did earlier on how badly the White House is mishandling this war, I didn't even talk about the fact that in a desperate effort to lower gas prices, we started alleviating some of the sanctions on Russian oil, and then the Russians used that to sell and then immediately, like, divert support to Iran so they could build more drones to blow us up. I completely forgot about that. I forgot about that element of the how do we bring down oil costs? What if we loosen sanctions on the one nation on earth that trades most with Iran when able to? Rare Russian W? Yeah, seriously. Even after everything he did in Minnesota, Bovino is only getting in trouble for saying bad things about Jews. It's grim, man. I really hope, in spite of how badly the Israeli pedophiles want you to become a JQer because they benefit from global anti-Semitism, I hope everyone understands that two things are simultaneously true, okay? The Western elite have disingenuously and maliciously, for a variety of reasons, turned a Jewish people as a group into an unassailable demographic. You can say a lot of negative stuff about a lot of negative groups, you know, anything they've done, any negative groups, you know, you can say whatever, but not them, right? And they're doing this not at all because they want to protect Jewish people. They don't give a fuck about Jewish people. The people most aggressively pushing this are literally Christian evangelical death cultists who want to use the sacrifice of Jewish people to end the world. Like, it is these two things are true at once. You cannot criticize them, not even adjacently. You can't criticize Israel because Israel's a Jewish state. You can't criticize AIPAC or the ADL because those are Jewish organizations respectively. But all the people doing this and enforcing this fucking hate Jews. You get me? I just hope everyone understands that. Never allow stuff like this to delude you into thinking that, like, the average random fucking Jewish guy in New York or whatever has anything to do with this. Because that's what they want. They want a million little groypers. They would love that. They love it when fucking Nazi twits like Bavino, you know, get in trouble. Like what has Bavino done, right? A bunch of monstrous stuff, but also maybe he's anti-Semitic. Of course he's fucking anti-Semitic. They're all Nazis. But now that Bavino's out of the limelight because they're switching tactics, you know, with ICE, now we're going after him. Why are we going after him? We're going after him because you can't criticize, you can't say anything about Jewish people. And I say criticize, by the way, because the powers that be will call you anti-Semitic for being a Nazi, but they'll also call you anti-Semitic for criticizing Israel for genocide. And often they'll criticize the latter more seriously. Like, there's a reason every day the ADL wakes up and they're like, which college protester should we hyper scrutinize today? Rather than, like, I don't know, the fact that literally the whole entire Republican Party is full of Nazis. Jesus Christ. You know, CBS News just put out an expose. Okay, we're invading Iran right now. Oil fields are burning. CBS News comes in with the hot shit. Take a look at these 3-year-old tweets that Mamdani's wife liked. I'm being serious. They actually did that. It was on the main CBS News account. Days after the invasion of Iran, they're like, hey, check this out. Did you know that 3 years ago, the wife of now New York City Mayor Mamdani liked a tweet where they cast doubt on claims made by Zionists about what took place during October 7th, claims that were never actually verified? Just don't let these people move you astray. That's all I'm saying. Look up Canary Mission. It's exactly what you're talking about with the blacklist of students and protesters that Israel and America used to track and stalk them. Let me ask, I'm curious, this blacklist of students and protesters, is it comprised of Nazis and open anti-Semites and Klanners and stuff like that? Or is it primarily comprised of pro-Palestinian activists on the left? That's not what CBS claimed. They claimed she liked posts that supported October 7th. They claimed both. Well, you want to look at the video? No, I'll find it. Where is it? God, Twitter search function is ass. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm trying to find where's that CBS post? Well, here's Jewish Insider. Larry Ellison up to riveting stuff. Barry Weiss, yeah. Here's the video. Yeah, there, thank you. The video. I wanted the video. No. This isn't from CBS, though.
Zohran Mamdani's wife, Rama Douaji, liked a post calling October 7th a mass rape hoax. That was only one of more than 70.
That's true. There was a bunch of disinformation spread about a mass rape that was just never proven. I'm not even saying that it's impossible that it happened, but it's an objective fact that Zionists immediately began lying about the mass beheadings, babies in the ovens, etc., etc. No evidence was ever provided. These were just hysterical lies that we were meant to believe, that were never proven. I mean, Hamas killed a bunch of civilians. They also killed a lot of IDF, and a lot of the IDF killed their own civilians. And, you know, honestly, judging from the polling of the average Israeli nowadays, it's pretty likely that a lot of the civilians they killed had the politics of your average SS member. But, you know. It's from the Free Press Journalist, which is also Barry Weiss. Is Olivia Reingold the Babies with Eczema writer? Wait, what are you referring to?
Anti-Israel posts I found, liked by Mamdani's wife. One post from October 9th, 2023, just 2 days after October 7th, characterized the terrorist attack as a defensive action against a, quote, system of oppression.
Okay.
Many of the posts traffic in anti-Semitic themes, including Holocaust.
Wait, hold on. Anti-Semitic themes?
Many of the posts traffic in
like this. That's I love this. They're utterly delusional. Like, they have no idea how they come across to other people. So they'll unironically throw this up, and they'll be like pro-Holocaust imagery like this. You know, this is what you chose to put this here. That's the bitch that said the starving kids in Gaza had pre-existing conditions. Oh yeah. This was like it was a video of like skeletally starving Gazan children, and she was like, well, some of these children have like pre-existing conditions, so it's not Israel's fault that the starvation that they're causing has made them look like this. No, you don't understand. Israel isn't cutting off food to healthy children. Israel's cutting off food to sick children.
Anti-Semitic themes, including Holocaust inversion.
Holocaust what?
One post liked by Douaji refers to a controversial Israeli prison as a, quote, concentration camp. This is what the post says. The concentration camp has a singular aim to exterminate.
I've never heard this one before. Holocaust inversion. Jesus Christ. It's anti-Semitic to point out that Jews can do genocides too. What happened to equality, right? Can't everyone do anything?
Palestinians and destroy their resistance. The mayor responded to a reporter's question on this yesterday, but that was before I uncovered 70 plus other posts for the Free Press.
Oh man, I hope they're not as damning as the previous correct posts that she's unearthed.
You know, my wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall.
It's no secret that Douaji, who's an illustrator, is a supporter of the Palestinian cause.
They're so fucking mad that Mamdani won and everyone loves him, so they're desperately trying to go after him for anything. This is just Israeli, this Hasbara, deep state propaganda. These people are all traitors and should be treated as such.
Much of her artistic portfolio revolves around the war in Gaza. What is new is the evidence suggesting her strong bias against Israel, which is depicted as...
What? Dog, not a single fucking thing she showed was bad. How long is the CBS video? Okay, just 1 minute.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani's wife, Rama Douaji, liked Instagram posts that appeared to support the October 7th attacks on Israel. Jewish Insider, an online outlet covering U.S. politics and Jewish affairs, was first to report this, and it's unclear when Douaji actually liked the photos. CBS News verified that Douaji liked a post from the Slow Factory on October 7th, 2023, showing images from the attack, and another from the People.
Okay. What? Wait. In this one, they're not even...
Forum a day.
I love the Zionists. I love them so much. They're so insane. They can't even make propaganda. They can't. Literally, they're like angrily. It's like that one guy who was at the UN, and there was that child's crayon drawing of like, I hope one day people in the Middle East can live in peace together. And they pointed it and they were like, this is disgusting anti-Semitism. Camera, get in here. This is disgusting. I can't believe a child would do this. We should kill him. You know, they're insane. They have no idea how they come across to other people. They're fucking delusional. They're more delusional than any other political demographic I've ever seen. Groypers are less delusional. I mean, like, genuinely, your average Nick Fuentes fan is much more optics conscientious when they're trying to talk outside of their bubble. And I genuinely mean that. The only reason you don't see this made evident more often is because the Zionists, A, get total cover from U.S. media and political groups, and also because it's been so normalized. But like, we're used to, it's like every time you click translate into Hebrew tweets, like following, you're discovering a lost page of Mein Kampf, you know? They're psychopaths. No, I agree. They're so in their bubble, they do not understand how they come across. They have no idea. They have no idea.
After the attack, showing protests in New York City. Mamdani responded to the report on Friday.
You know, my wife is the love of my life, and she's also...
That's it. This is it. This is it. This is it.
Thoughts and my policies and my decisions.
Mamdani has called Hamas's attack a horrific war crime, but has also criticized the Israeli government's response, often calling it genocidal.
Okay. Great stuff. Really good stuff. Why are Zionists so dumb? Because Zionists are what you would get if if Nazi collaborators working in America were given completely unconditional political and media cover for decades and decades. Like you have the American government, and then you have Nazi collaborators, people who are working like overseas with the Nazi party in Germany. But for some inexplicable reason, not only is America openly allied with Nazi Germany, but also any lie is on the table if it's defending those people. So you have like Nazi ideology, and then decades and decades and decades of just, you will face no consequences for the shit you're saying, man. None whatsoever. Just completely, you're home free. And only in the past couple of years has this begun to change. But it's always been like this, man. Remember my Glass Israel comment? Only a couple months after I started streaming, I got permanently banned for Twitch for, you know, joking that Israel should be glassed, which was very funny and was not appreciated by the Twitch staff. But do you remember why? It's because my memory is hazy. This was like 6 years ago. It's because I was reading an article in which Israelis were arguing over the legitimate use of force in their engagements with Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And I believe there was a military official, some officer, general, I don't remember. Again, it's pretty hazy for me. But the argument was being made in the article by a military officer, and he was just the most openly Hitlerite. Like, no U.S. general could talk that way, is my point. Like, if at the time a U.S. general had written anything racially equivalent to that, they would have been like pilloried. They would have been removed from command. Just an open article, basically like just openly like, these aren't people, so we can do whatever we want to them. You couldn't do that unless you were Israeli. They just do that openly over there, you know? They have all of the like racial animus of fucking like, I don't know, Rwandans. It's like looking into the Tutsi rhetoric or something circa the 90s. Like you're like peering in and you're like, what the fuck? Holy shit. The difference being, of course, that like in America we don't give unlimited political cover to Rwandan genociders. Or Serbians. I'm not joking. I genuinely think that the Serbians are orders of magnitude more humane than the Israelis. Like, the Serbs are really bad in a lot of ways with regard to their racial animus post Yugoslav, you know, the whole shebang, Kosovo. But it's really difficult to compete with the Israelis. It's really, really bad over there. Tutsis were the ones being killed. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. The other group, not the Tutsi. The other Rwandan group, the other ethnic group that was killing them with machetes and stuff. Which was the Hutus? Thank you, thank you. I mixed them up. We hit an Iranian desalination plant today. Yeah. Iran has threatened that if we do this, they might do the same. If they hit the desalination plants that serve Dubai, they could cause a water crisis for millions of people. Dubai is just a fucking punching bag for Iran and the US. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. The first reply being from Dan Blitzerian. Yeah, the Nazis are going crazy on Twitter. Unfortunately, right now, Israel and America are completely united in their goal of seemingly legitimizing every Nazi conspiracy theory. It's really unfortunate. Remember, of course, that the Nazis don't have fundamentally a problem with what the JQ represents. They just want to imitate it themselves. The Nazis look at all of this power and money and pedophilia, and they think, why not me? Why not me? Are we pro or against this? You mean Iran striking the UAE's water purification facilities? As far as I'm concerned, literally everything that happens in the Middle East from this point onward is the fault of us and Israel. Literally everything. There is nothing that Iran could do that would not be a natural and desperate attempt at self-defense from vastly superior powers trying to fuck them over. If the UAE does not want their water desalination plants destroyed, they should be asking the United States why the fuck they're doing that to Iran. Which they are, by the way. The Gulf states actually are trying to press America to tone it the fuck down. I don't know if it's going to be enough. But there, as far as I'm concerned, like, Iran has been freed from moral culpability. There are lots of innocent people, guys. Yeah, there are. And right now, America and Israel are threatening all of them. What America and Israel are doing right now literally threaten like hundreds of millions of people in a very direct way. All of this is on us. Parentheses, America, Israel. America, like, it's 100%. It's not great. I don't know, Karina. I blame Joe Rogan. I think that's fair. Gulf states being moral arbiters. The Gulf states right now somehow are less evil than American Israel. Good news, Sri Lanka saved those Iranian sailors. Really? I didn't know they'd actually saved them. Yet another war crime we committed. Most Iranian sailors treated in Sri Lanka discharged from hospital. Some 22 Iranian sailors rescued off the coast of Sri Lanka. This was when a ship that had been training with India, we struck it and sank it for no reason, and didn't even rescue the survivors. We forced Sri Lankan ships to go and rescue the survivors. They saved less than a third of them. Yeah. Bodies of 84 Iranians retrieved from the Indian Ocean were also at the hospital. Several others remain missing. I spent much time defending Israel as self-defenders, and I'm coming around to the conclusion I was wrong. The self-reflection here is painful. I feel like I'm de-radicalizing a part of myself. Huh. Well, happy to have you here. The U.S. is pushing Sri Lanka to hold them as prisoners instead of repatriating them to Iran. Man, we just want to make enemies of the entire fucking... Just every... Like, there's no country we want to be on good terms with. We want to be on bad terms with every fucking country on Earth. Seen a few economists predict 200 a barrel crude. That would be funny. Oh. At least my headache's gone. I just looked at my subreddit. What the fuck is this? Would Kamala have killed Abel? Would Kamala have fought the first Barbary War? Would Kamala have blockaded Cuba? Is the... What are we on about right now? What are we doing? I can't tell if this is a bit. It's called comedy? I genuinely don't know. Given Vosh, many leftists insist Kamala would have attacked Iran. I just, if, in order for me to believe that Kamala would not have, at the very least, enabled an Israeli attack on Iran, I would need to be given some evidence. Because again, like, they lied non-stop to protect Israel at every point in an ongoing genocide. And right now, Democratic leadership isn't really condemning the war. Like, Chuck Schumer didn't really condemn the abduction of Maduro from Venezuela, didn't condemn the strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, and isn't really condemning this one either. Like, consistently, the Democratic Party is saying we are not really morally opposed to this. It seems like the big point of contention for a lot of Democrats is whether or not the president should be able to do this unilaterally, or, in my opinion, whether or not they want to do this in such an aggressive and stupid way. Like, I don't think the Democrats would have been as stupid in doing this. Like, Trump is doing this in a remarkably fucking retarded way. But like, fundamentally, Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're willing to lose an election for Israel, if nothing else. She said diplomacy is her top choice against Iran. Implied sanctions would be second. She said Trump will start a war with Iran and condemned her for that. But Kamala also engaged in hawkish rhetoric against Iran. Ah, the subreddit. Yeah, that is a massive change with him since the election. Previously, he was on if te few poltkill commentars who actually used their empathy and evidence to assert things, and he was easily the best major political streamer. Now, I feel like he is just trying to be Hassan too, and I hope he realizes that's a bad thing. I care for Vosh for all he's done for me, so I hope he recovers. Patronizing motherfucker. Most literate Vosh viewer? Yeah, maybe. I am a little bit worried that, like, there's going to be an overwhelming rout in the midterms. I just really hope that the fact that Trump is this bad doesn't lead to people forgetting. Wait, how much are people disagreeing over this? Hold on. Would we really have attacked Iran if Kamala was president? I disagree, not at all. Not sure why I had that intuition. Feels like he thinks there's more of an agreement on Democrat-Republican war in the Middle East than there actually is. Am I hallucinating? Do I not live in the world where like Democrats lied nonstop for Israel and enabled them at basically every step along the way, and then also continued to engage in hawkish rhetoric against Iran? Because I remember the strikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities, and a lot of Democrats were pretty favorable towards it. I just, I don't know. He's just been in contrarian mode for the past 3 months. Is there like a theoretical version of my subreddit that wasn't contrarian and liberal all the time? Is there like a way to tweak things to keep it from being like that? Is it possible? Yes, OKBV. Those people are plenty insane enough. You describe it all Reddit? Yeah. Well, this person posts in non-credible diplomacy, so I guess that kind of tells you what you need to know. Auto-ban anyone who posts on a Destiny subreddit? I thought we did that, though. Didn't we already do that? Practically, but not technically. Okay. I'm getting tired. Let me see if there's anything else here. That's funny. Dude, I do not understand how the fuck Reddit works. I haven't, on Firefox, I haven't logged into Reddit and changed the formatting to the old. Let me see. Fantano might actually be a Vosh fan. You love to see it. I was actually on good terms with Fantano for a while. I don't remember what exactly. It was one of the innumerable dramas. One of the innumerable dramas. I don't remember what it was exactly that led to him unfollowing me, but I mean I like Fantano. I think he's cool. Destiny sounding a lot like Vosh here. What the fuck? Oh my god. Ah, links. I love when Big V brings up some lefty streamer and I have no idea who you are. You don't know who Fantano is? Sorry. I'm like I'm like falling asleep. No, you're not. You're watching Anime Awaken. Okay. Sorry. Oh, man. Might be an end stream angle. I just wanted to cover some important stuff tonight. I know that by tomorrow morning, it's all going to be even worse. Oh, right. Okay. Where's the jacket from? Imagina Willie. Either skip the Fantano bit. Skip the Fantano bit? There is no Fantano bit. Holy shit, I'm tired. All right, everyone. For everyone who donated, I'm going to read that shit tomorrow after stream. Why? if you don't know. You keep falling for it. You keep falling for it. Everyone take care, drink your water, etc., etc. I'm going to go hang out with my beautiful partner and then fall asleep. And then tomorrow morning I'll see you. All right. Check it. Good night.